Welcome back to another episode of By the Rim, your newest place for unbiased basketball media. Today, we're going to specialize, or I should say, focus more on the OKC Thunder. So today, I got Dayshon with me here. How you doing today, bro?
Chilling, chilling. You?
Not too bad, not too bad. So to start off, let's just talk about like the season as a whole and how you expected it to go and how it ended up, actually panning out. So what were your thoughts before the year started?
I expected the Thunder to actually finish pretty high. I wouldn't say that I was expecting them to finish number one. Number one was definitely a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more so around maybe like fifth, fourth range. That's more so where I was thinking.
Yeah, same here pretty much. Uh, but I mean, youngest team in league history to get the number one seed, I think, right?
Yeah, youngest.
Yeah, that was super cool to see. Like just every game, and it didn't feel fluky either. It really felt like this team had come together like at the right times. And the biggest sign of that was they took care of business against bad teams, and then they did not collapse in the fourth quarter, even when things were hard. So I thought that was a huge thing for the team this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you got a player like Shea, you know what I'm saying? He's going to be able to carry in big moments, make big shots, and then obviously we saw Chet make some big shots. We saw J Dub make big shots. And I thought we got great production out of Case and Wallace this year too, as well.
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to talk about when it came to this season is like how did Chet perform compared to your preseason expectations? Because honestly, he blew my expectations out of the water.
Uh Honestly, I know it sounds kind of crazy. I thought he would be a little bit more tad bit offensively polished. Um, but for his rookie year, I think he did exceptionally well, to be honest with you. Especially, I would say I was blown away more so with the rim protection. The rim protection was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I would say, even though I expected a little bit more offensively, I think overall in totality, he had an amazing rookie season.
Yeah, I remember I was batting so hard for him to be the number one pick in the draft 2022 because that was the first draft class where my high school class was in the league. I remember I played against Chet in a camp like my sophomore year of high school, and his team killed us, and it was funny, but like it was cool seeing that these were going to be the guys finally get into the league. And then I remember I was batting so hard for Chet because they're like, oh, he's gonna get hurt, like he's gonna be injury prone, he's too skinny. I'm like, there when in NBA history has being too skinny ever been an issue outside of like actually no, I don't think that ever has been. It's like when it comes to these
You
tall
say maybe
guys, the injuries
maybe
have always been like the
Bobo?
super heavy guys. You said what?
I think maybe Bobo
Bol
or not
Bobo
Bobo.
Manute
Manuka. Sorry.
Manute Bol was 50 years old in the NBA. That doesn't count.
Maybe him. Outside of that, maybe Bradley, Sean Bradley, maybe.
Sean Bradley was like 300 plus though. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Like these super tall guys, the ones that have injury problems, they were super heavy. So when people were talking about Chet being injury prone or something like that, it never really made sense to me. So I remember like when the Orlando Magic took Paolo, first off, I was confused, but I'm like, you know what? This is good because that means OKC gets him. And I know he was trying to like, swerve his way over there anyway. So it was really great to see. But I remember like the first summer league, I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, if he plays bad, like this could be really bad. But then he went out and had like 23 points on like 9 shots in the first summer league game. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna be fine. And then he also set the summer league record for blocks in a game, like in his debut. And so
yeah.
after that, I was so hyped. And then when he went down with injury, I was so sad since we had to wait a whole year. And then this year comes up and I'm like, I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if, you know, like the year off is gonna help him improve mentally because I know he's a locked in dude, but like once the game actually showed up, or like game two, I think, was against the Cavs, and he almost had a triple double with blocks. Like that was like I think that was a great sign. And then we saw him have a historic rookie year, only to be dethroned by probably the greatest rookie and probably the greatest player of all time in Victor Wembanyama. So I think Chet was really excellent this year because I only thought he averaged maybe like 13 points a game, maybe like 7, 8 rebounds, and he just exceeded all of that.
I had him at 20 and 8. So that's
Okay.
what he's slightly under. And the reason why I say this is because obviously I told you my uncle's from Minnesota, so I've been watching Chet for like a really long time. Him and
Hmm.
also who is it, Jalen Suggs as well.
Yeah.
So I got to see like the confidence whenever he's gone up against pros and then played in obviously the bigger games. He never shies away from competition. So I already knew coming into the league, it wasn't really going to be much of an adjustment as far as attitude wise, maybe body
Yeah.
wise, and obviously schemes and learning different things like that. But I don't really think he would have a huge adjustment period for
Yeah.
coming into the league. So I wasn't really that surprised. You know what I'm saying? Me personally,
Yeah.
I
20
was just
points per
like
game.
maybe just a tad bit more. And that's only because whenever I look at the roster construction of our team, J Dub and Shea create so many open shots. So it's like you should be able to get somewhere around there pretty efficient as well. And then with you being able to shoot the three ball, that also helps.
That's true. But it's like throughout Chet's entire 10 years of basketball player, he's never really been like a volume scorer. So that's like where I didn't know like it made his ceiling kind of difficult to kind of gauge because obviously the skill set, the talent, and like I guess the work ethic was absolutely all there. But it was like, does he have the mentality to just take over games and stuff? And it's not like oh, he's not good because he doesn't score 40 points a game or whatever. But it's like he is such an unselfish player, and it's almost to a fault at this point because you've seen throughout the season where he's way more willing to take a great shot instead of just a good shot. Like I said this on Twitter a few times, he loves to pump fake threes and not shoot them if they're even slightly contested, which it's good for his percentages, but also at the same time, it's like you are a good enough shooter to end you're 7'1". So you just got to take those shots. But like he's a little bit too passive, or he was, in my opinion, like a little bit too passive to be like a main guy. So it kind of raised those questions of what is he gonna be?
I mean, that's what I say. I think it comes down to the development because once he gets more confident in the shot, once he gets better with dribbling the ball, getting to his spots, figuring out what spots he wants to get to, that's whenever I think you'll see more of the quote unquote like offensive surgeons from him. But right now, with the role that he's in, and then obviously him still trying to grow and find himself, it's going to be more of like screen pop, screen rolls, lob dunks. You know what I'm saying? Just simple plays to get him buckets. But when his game fully comes around, that's whenever I think you'll see the best out of Chet. And
Yeah,
I'll probably say we'll see some leaps this coming year, and then I would say probably by year 4 or 5, you'll really be able to see exactly what I believe that I see.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm excited for Chet's future. But let's touch next on our second guy, J Dub. Coming into the draft, or coming when he first got drafted by OKC, what did you know and what did you think about him? And did you ever expect him to be even on the level that he is right now?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I just knew everything about J Dub because I didn't. I was actually kind of not really too in the mix. Like I knew about him, but not to the extent of like really doing a whole bunch of research, looking into him. Obviously, you see all the draft things coming out or whatever, and then you look at a guy's wingspan, you look at how he plays, and then you watch film or whatever. But honestly, I wouldn't sit here and say that I expected him to be as good as he is, and then the expectations that I see that he personally or that I personally think he could be. So he's cold now. That's who I say is more so passive. Like down in the playoffs, I thought he should have shot the ball more. I thought he
Yeah.
should have shot the ball way more.
I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of every Thunder fan's thoughts, but first playoffs, everyone's going to react differently. He stepped up in great moments, and he also had his playoff rookie woes. It, it happens. I was just so impressed with him this year. The fact that he maintained his efficiency, I thought it was going to drop off because it's like we knew he was going to be more volume this season and you'd have more responsibility. And I'm like, I wonder how his efficiency is going to, kind of tail off a little bit because it seems inevitable when you like up your volume and you have more defensive focus. And I'm pretty sure he improved in every single way, which is
Did
wild. Like
didn't
last
go. What was 3 point percentage? 40 to 43.
it was 43, I think, on like
I know it was
4 or
43.
5 attempts.
Yeah, that's crazy. Honestly, if he can up his free throw percentage, he might be able to break the record for 40. What is it? Was it 50, 40, 90?
Yeah, like
You know,
there's legitimately
those in there.
there's like two, three, maybe four guys on this team who can reach 50, 40, 90 at some point. That
Yeah.
being Shea is a maybe because he's had a couple seasons where he's been over 40% from three, over 90% from the free throw line, and obviously like way over 50% from the field. And then
Uh,
Chet was close for the beginning of the season, and then he started to tail off. I think it's definitely possible for him. For Dub, it seems almost inevitable. And then Cason Wallace, because he was there for like a little while of the season, even on low volume, but like just a fish, like technically, I think he can be there.
yeah. I'm actually super excited to see where his growth goes. Like I'm very excited to see what type of player he turns into. Because
Absolutely.
I think he can be able to put the ball on the ground, and I think he has a lot more to his game that's not unlocked yet either.
Yeah, because I mean, he was the point guard for Kentucky or in his pre-draft season, you know. So him being able to scale down and just be so great in the role that he was given is such a good sign for not only him but also for the OKC Thunder.
For sure.
Yeah. But lastly before we or move forward, let's touch just a little bit on Shea. I mean, there's not really much to say. Second in MVP, led the young team to the first seed in the NBA. Like, what else is there really to say about him?
Nothing, bro. It just reminds me of the old Kevin Durant days. I'm not saying that they play the same, but it's just a walking 30 ball. This is literally
Walking
just a
third.
walking 30 ball, man.
He walks into an
Yeah.
efficient
He
31
shows
points
up,
every night.
it's a 30 ball every time. So I don't really have to too much worry about Shea.
Yeah, like
Yeah, we all know it's not too much to say.
I'm so glad
Yeah,
that he's on the team.
mm-hmm.
Like it, the fact that the Thunder fleeced the Clippers and Paul George has a small chance of actually rejoining the Thunder this year, like that's kind of hilarious.
The headlines will go crazy if he
Headline, yeah. But
returns.
shoot, what else? Yeah, I guess not too much else to say about the season other than them blowing out the expectations. So now let's move more into this specific playoff run. Taking care of the Pelicans in 4 games, that was really cool. What did you think about that?
Uh, I don't really have too many thoughts on it. I kind of did want to see us get tested a little bit more with Zion being there, but obviously you play who you play, and I thought we handled business, and I felt like we won every single game convincingly for the most part. Besides, I forgot what game it is, but when CJ McCollum pump faked, and I think it might have been Casey Wallace jumped over him and he shot that three and
Mm.
almost hit it. Besides that game, I felt like we just handled them. I didn't really
Yeah,
think it gave us much adversity in
yeah,
that series at all.
yeah. That was game one where CJ McCollum actually called for a switch on Queso, and then Queso just locked him up.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's it. Okay, I
Yeah,
was
that
gonna say
was
besides that game, outside of that, I feel like we dog walked them. It
uh,
wasn't too much to it.
absolutely, and that like that was expected. Out of a 1 versus 8, but like again, being one of the youngest teams, you don't really know what to expect because there's been plenty of playoff or regular season flukes of teams, getting like really good records during the season, like the Atlanta Hawks. Like the Atlanta Hawks in like 2015 or something like that. They were the number one seed, and then LeBron just came in and KO'd them. Like,
Basketball, I tell everybody basketball. Well, you obviously know you play basketball. Basketball is about matchups. When you get that wrong matchup, sometimes it doesn't go your way. So that's
exactly.
the way it is.
And then speaking of matchups, that brings us right into the next series, which very unfortunate for us, but the Dallas Mavericks, man, they took care of business against the OKC Thunder. They matched us really well, and unfortunately, because Josh Giddey was such a liability on all ends of the floor, that was a huge hole because that means someone else has to step up that's not used to that role.
Yeah.
And man, the Mavericks, they did really good in that series. PJ Washington decided to turn into prime what's Clay Thompson against us.
I don't know what that was about, to be honest with you. It kind of sucks that I don't want to say that's the reason, but that is a big highlight as to the reason why we did lose. If PJ Washington shoots the way that he normally shoots, I think the Thunder end up skating by, even though I still think it's a tough series, but I think it goes seven. And either the Thunder take it or Dallas takes it, but I would rock with the Thunder to take it. Um, who else? Actually, go ahead, bro. I lost my train of thought.
No, you good, bro. I get that. But like that Mavericks series highlighted some of the Thunder's weaknesses. You know, the one that's been kind of harped on all season is the rebounding. But during
Mhm.
the regular season, that was kind of counteracted by the fact that the Thunder was a turnover forcing machine. Like
Yeah,
I think they were the best team, if I'm not mistaken, at forcing turnovers, whether that's steals, deflections, uh, tie ups, something like that. Like they just did so good at that during the season that and they were an efficient team that they didn't really need to rebound as much as you'd normally want. But in the playoffs, Derek Lively, Gafford, even uh, Derek Jones Jr. and Luca, like they really kind of exploited that weakness and the fact that Chet's not really a go getter when it comes to the boards. You know, even with all of the things that he does so great, that's the one thing that he I don't know if like it's like, oh, he has to improve, whether it's like a talent thing, because some people just really have a nose for the ball like that. But it also the fact that Josh Giddey was straight up unplayable just kind of took like our rebounding out of the game at all.
yeah. That was one thing that was kind of confusing to me. Even though if you obviously you watch the games, the whole year they would when Josh Giddey's in the game, most teams would take their big man and put him in the paint, close to the paint, obviously 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so that they could help off of Shea. And normally, I mean, there were some games where Josh Giddey would hit, there were some games where he wouldn't hit. But I thought Josh Giddey did a great job in the previous series of knocking down shots. I thought he shot them with confidence. I thought he played really well, to be honest with you. And then to see Mark kind of take those minutes away before even letting Giddey have a chance to even get his feet wet, I didn't really like that move, to be honest with you, because then by that time he's shot, he's out of his confidence is off, and then whenever you're playing him, he seemed kind of lackadaisical, and then whenever the guy that you traded for and Gordon Hayward is not bringing you anything, he's just
Oh,
passing the ball. He doesn't even look like he's an NBA player at this point, and it created a major hole, I feel like, in our offense. And I feel like that as well, even though there were multiple games where we got up a lot of points and then we gave it away because we couldn't sustain it, or, you know, obviously got Luke and Kyrie and then the lobs or whatever. So they were going on flurries of scoring, and sometimes we just couldn't get back in the game and overcome it. But I just didn't like the way that Mark kind of took away his confidence quickly. I didn't feel like he let him marinate. Yeah, he didn't really even give him a chance.
yeah.
So
I Man, that Gordon Hayward trade really set us. I shouldn't say set us back because it opened up cap space by,
yeah.
he's a free agent now, and obviously they got off of Bertans, gave Trey Mann a chance. Uh, there's someone else who came in that. Oh, Poku, but man, I totally.
Somebody told me that we dropped him. I thought we traded him
Oh,
because
you're right. We did. They did waive. They waived
Micic
Poku.
waived him. I thought he got traded, but Micic was the one who got traded.
Micic, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, so that's like a bunch of salary gone and massive cap space. But when Hayward got over to the Thunder, I fully expected him to just kind of like take a bit of a back seat, but also like I was not expecting him to just not ever shoot the ball. That was mind blowing because it's like you're Gordon Hayward. You were an all-star. You had like multiple years of 20 points a game, a great shooter, a good passer. I thought he was gonna supplement all the things that Josh Giddey couldn't do on offense and then just be better at because he's a threat to shoot. But when he just refused to actually shoot the ball, it was like, what are you doing? Because oh my gosh, like
Yeah, it
he
was
was
infuriating. I didn't understand what he was doing. I
yeah.
I didn't understand it at all. Because there's multiple times where he gets a swing, and then he just like looks and it's like I don't know. That was
Yeah.
weird.
I didn't like it. I didn't know like at first he wasn't shooting. Like when he first got there, it was like, oh, I guess he's just kind of trying to like feel the team out, like see
Yeah.
like where guys like their spots and stuff because that's what good playmakers do. But then he just wouldn't shoot, and then I think was he played like 39 minutes in the Pelican series, took 3 shots and missed all of them. It's like after that you can't be played because you're not good enough of a defender, you are not good enough of a playmaker, and if you're absolute zero threat to score, you cannot be played at all. Even, at least with Josh Giddey, he's a great passer and he can rebound. and
He
he's
tries to
six.
be aggressive at the rim at least, like something.
Yeah, and then he was hitting his threes that series, and he's 6'9", so like that makes a difference. But man, that Hayward trade, that
I thought it was gonna be a good one just to find out bro came to Oklahoma just to do cardio. So that was ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't know what that was about. And
yeah. But back to the Maverick series, I definitely a couple of good things that came out of it. Shea proved that he's not a playoff dropper. I don't know why that was like a narrative that people were trying to create, but he he improved in every single way. I think he shot like 50, 40, like 70 or something like that. And he was like averaged like 11 rebounds a game, like 7 assists. Like he was really locked in.
yeah, like Shea. That's what I'm saying. Shea's game is just it's such a. I know people call it boring or whatever, or may call it boring, but it's such a constant way of scoring, and he's a master whenever it comes to getting to the mid range, and the pull up is deadly. Like it's just flat out deadly, and then the way that he shoots it so much, he gets people off their feet, and then it draws easy fouls, and then he gets to the free throw line, and it's just like I said, just leads to a walking 30 every single time. So I never thought that he would drop. The only person who I thought would give him a challenge was Herb Jones. And even that series, what he averaged 28, even though his efficiency wasn't as good, but Herb Jones is a hell of a defender. So
He made stuff happen. And I'm gonna say it. He feels like a modern embodiment of Michael Jordan, minus the bounce. Like you know what I'm saying? Like this is how I imagine Michael Jordan would play in 2024.
it's kind of how he played with the Wizards.
All
But
right,
balance. No. Obviously, on a higher scale, Shay's on a higher scale. But I'm saying, like, if you want
just
to go
how
with
we
the way,
played.
yeah, like the way that he played.
That makes sense. Yeah, Shea is man. I never expected him to be this good, and he's just been excellent. But who else can we talk about? Cason Wallace played well during the playoffs
I had a bone to pick with him, man. In that game, what was it? Game 6.
of the Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 possessions in a row where he got off his feet, made a pass, they went and scored, and then he tried to make some type of cross the court type of pass, and they stole
That's
it,
right.
and they just started going crazy. And I was like, dang. But at the same time, like I said, it's like that's why I always ask that question. Even if the Thunder go far or we lose early or whatever, could Thunder fans really even be upset? We're still young,
Oh
still
yeah.
quote unquote rebuilding. Even though now with the what I'm pretty sure we'll talk about here in a second,
Mhm.
with that happening, it seems like we're kind of moving our timeline up a little bit quicker. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it was a hell of a season. I thought it was a great series. A few other things may have went our way. I think we could have pulled it out. So I'm not upset.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing before we move on to the next segment. The foul on PJ Washington to win game essentially, game 6. What do you think about that?
I personally have to credit PJ Washington for holding on to the ball, to be honest with you. He held on to the ball, number one, because if he didn't, that would have been a clean block. They wouldn't have got a shot up. Good. We to the crib with it. Now, on the backside of that, do I think that Mark should have challenged it? I'm not so sure because then that took away our. I think we had a timeout, so it took away our timeout. And then once the free throws happened, we didn't really have a chance to even try to score. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really like that, which kind of shows a little bit of rookiness inside of our coaching staff at the moment. But I think it's all growing pains. Shay, the way after it happened in that interview that he was in, uh, I could see like that hurt, but that determination at the same time of like, y'all better watch out for him next year. Y'all better watch out. So I think sometimes when stuff like that happens, it's good for you. As
Yeah.
crazy as that sounds, those
That's
type of mistakes build character.
yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, almost exactly. I know some people on like on Twitter, social media are still trying to say that it wasn't a foul, but they reviewed it. It was like by all like rule books and stuff, it was a foul because again, Washington held onto that ball. That is actually a clutch. That was a clutch save for the Mavericks. And then with Mark calling the timeout, it's it's hard because in that moment, again, it looked like a block. So like you don't really know because there's like that small chance that the refs could be like, oh, he got the ball, and so that should be considered a block, if not like a jump ball or something like that, right? And then but that's not what ended up happening. So, the challenge is void. I don't have a problem with it. It's just the fact that it didn't go their way. It,
Yeah.
left them in bad spots. So that's just,
That's what I say. It's like multiple things that you could throw in there. I don't really think it's anybody's fault because it's like if you look at it from the angle of it could have been a jump ball, but then if you watch the whole replay, after Shea gets the ball, he definitely fouls him. And
yeah,
then you know what I mean? So it's kind of it's a tough spot, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's just basketball. The biggest thing is that Shea should have just let him shoot because he's either gonna make it
And
or he's
I
gonna
know you
miss it.
said Kyrie come in and rebound that and put it back up though. I know you saw that. I know you saw that because everybody was just looking at the ball and Kyrie comes in and lays it up. I know it was after, but still.
That would be something that
I
Kyrie would
probably
do.
still would have scored. He jumped in the air and finished the layup. So
Yeah,
I don't know. That was
but
just a tough one. I just didn't like to see us lose that way, the fan in me or whatever. But I thought, man, it was a good series and a good season. So
absolutely, the whole team is a just they just blew the expectations out of the water in everything. Like I didn't even know that they'd. I shouldn't say that. I should say that making the second round was about where I expected, and they did really good. So I
mm,
am all smiles, happy about all that. So
yeah,
good way to. I shouldn't say a good way to end the season, but can't really complain about it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but so I guess that'll transition us into the next segment, which let's talk about the offseason. And like you kind of alluded to earlier, we saw the biggest trade, of the offseason so far, and a massive, massive upgrade for the Thunder, but also a sad department or sad departing of Josh Giddey as he was traded to he was traded to the Chicago Bulls for Alex Caruso in a 1-for-1 deal. What are your thoughts on that initially, at least?
Well, obviously I was working, and then you had text me, and I was like, what are you talking about? And so I had to look. I'm like, oh, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. So initially for me, I wasn't mad at it because, like I said, I think well, there's two things that I really rock with. It's the whole matchup concept, and then basketball is a game of fit. It's not who's the best player. It's not who has the most talented players. It's about fit, in my personal opinion. Obviously you do need talent. Don't get that wrong. But
Yeah.
once I seen it, I was like, oh man, our defense just went through the roof. I'd be number one defense next year. We just went through the roof because I seen it was like a stat, the stat that you were talking about earlier that OKC forces a lot of deflections, turnovers, or whatever. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it was at like 17 something. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we were first in the league. And then they showed Alex Caruso's numbers next to that. And I think he was at like 3.7. So, which puts
Alex
us
Caruso leads the league in deflections.
so which makes our defense ridiculous. And then on the backside, even though I know it's not about the Chicago Bulls, but I do think they get kind of that Lonzo Ball void. Obviously, with less shooting, but he's younger. You know what I'm saying? They do similar things, even though I do think Lonzo, when he was playing it healthy, is better. But I think they got a nice piece. I just kind of I'm not saying I wish they would have gotten picks, but if I'm a Bulls fan, I wish they would have gotten picks. So,
Yeah. But
but for
man,
us, I love the trade. For us, I love the trade. Just I know that was long winded, but yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And as a as kind of one of the presidents of the Josh Giddey fan club,
Mhm.
it's sad to see him go, especially because you saw his post game interview after game 6, and or I guess the postseason wrap up interview, and was like he was very emotional about the season because it's like, man, what he had to go through, that was that's probably about as bad as it gets. And
Yeah,
but excuse me.
I live here, so I know. I'm not gonna speak too much, but I know how that type of stuff gets. So you know,
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's
it's probably
just,
like that everywhere. To be honest with you, but
yeah, it's such a sad spot to be in. And then just to kind of be getting phased out of the team, like slightly, like on the court too, like all of that coming together at once. That's so much to deal with for a 21-year-old. Like he's a month younger than I am. Like,
forget he's that young, man.
yeah, it puts in perspective like how young he is as a player. Like he came in at 18 years old. Um, but he's getting a fresh start. I'm really glad that he's going to a team that I don't like needs him isn't the right word, but like they can use him. And they seems like the Bulls are kind of prioritizing him too because they said that they still think he's got some star upside, which I still believe, like as long as he has the ball in his hands. I think I
That's where
think huh?
that's where he shines at, having the ball in
Yes.
his hand. Yeah.
Because we saw what he did in that stretch of like 7 games without Shade around March-ish. And he was averaging like I think it was like 19, 9, and 8 or something like that. Like he stepped up to the plate and he delivered. And so I really, really hope that he can shine in Chicago.
I think he'll be able to. I think he'll be able to for sure.
Yes. But with that being said, we got Alex Caruso now. And like you were talking about, like the defense, there's a very good chance that we could be number one in the league next year. And that's not even talking about defense. On offense, he supplements everything that Giddy could not give us. It's like a 43% shooter. And this last year, he was upping his volume from three. And so another floor spacer, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. He can scale up a little bit. Shoot. Who else? Or not who else?
Are you saying scale up as far as who he can guard?
Yeah, who he can guard because he's six
Yeah, I
five,
thought
athletic.
him guarding Kevin Durant pretty tough. So
Yeah, so like between him and Dort, like that's like got to be the most disgusting defensive duo. Like,
yeah, look to come off this screen, and instead of Dort on you got Caruso.
ugh,
How you feel about that?
and then oh man, like so, and then in terms of free agency, I think the Thunder are going to try and bring in a wing slash forward. So I don't really know what the market is looking like this year, but like I mentioned earlier, Paul George, it's a very very small chance. I wouldn't expect it, but if he decided he wanted to come back to OKC, that would be like awesome because he can between him and Dub, the two of them can kind of guard on fours and then let Chet, do his thing on the interior, along with I think that would probably push either Caruso or Dort to the bench, depending on who's better offensively, I guess. Who do you think between those two would be starting?
To be completely honest with you, I think it would be Alex Caruso. Are you talking about Alex Caruso and Dort?
Yeah.
If Alex Caruso, because I know we didn't speak too much on Dort, but his IQ when he drives the ball, it just has to be better. It just flat out has to be better. And I'm a Dort advocate. I love Dort. I love the fact that he got better at shooting. I love the fact that he's confident when he shoots, and I love his defense. I think he's one of the most underrated defensive players in all of the NBA. But
Mm-hmm.
his driving game needs some help. And it's crazy how like I think a lot of NBA players, if they just develop a floater, you don't even have to get to the rim all the time. But just develop a little slight floater when you get in there. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
would like to see that be the focus of growth for his game. If he could upgrade that, then it could go either way. But at this given moment, I think Caruso is the better offensive talent.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like as soon as Dort puts the ball on the floor, everything goes out the window, and I start panicking every time I'm watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Okay, so you were talking about free agents, right? Sorry, that's why I was looking down. I
No, you're
was
good. You're good.
so you said what type of players you thinking? Wings?
I'm thinking wing forward, so someone who can play power forward, but I would want someone who has a little bit more size. So like 6'8" and up, so Dub doesn't have to keep playing the four.
Okay, so I could throw out just a there's a there's not really too many names, I guess. You already spoke on Paul George. This is a name of a player who I feel like a lot of people honestly I think a lot of people hate him. But for me personally, I'm like, I think he's okay if he's in the right situation. And this possibly could be the right situation if he's willing to take, you know what I'm saying, not too much money. He's already made a lot of money in his career. Um, what do you think about a player like Tobias Harris?
I knew you were gonna say that. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I
Why you
can't.
out? Why you out? Why you out?
His offensive game is too inconsistent. He doesn't fit the mold of a Thunder player, which is high IQ, good team, like what is it? High skill and I guess high feel. So like he can shoot, but I wouldn't depend on him in games. His defense is just kind of okay. and he's way too inconsistent. And he's not like he doesn't have good enough feel that I think he would fit with OKC like as a passer because they work in tandem together so well, and that's what makes OKC so good.
Okay. Okay. So we got obviously I should have done probably should have done a little bit more research on what actually would take to get these players,
Nah, you
but
good.
OG Anunoby,
Oh yeah, OG would be
offensive back.
OG would be great because he's 6'7", 6'8", right?
Yeah, I believe so. He was
Yeah.
guarding Pascal.
You said
Um,
what?
he was guarding Pascal a lot in that Pacer series.
Yeah. If OG came in, I think that would be really good. The one guy that I personally would want that I think would fit perfectly is Denny Avdia, but I don't think the Wizards are going to give him up.
I think the Wizards are on a new path of understanding basketball, so I don't think they would give them up. I think that's what I'm saying. If anybody comes off of that team, it would be Kyle Kuzma. But if they do
Mm,
give up Denny, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm throwing whatever they want. Go ahead, because Denny is actually one of my favorite players. Like that's under the radar. I feel like he doesn't really get a lot of respect. Unless you're really really into hoops, then
yeah.
obviously you know I get it. But
Yeah. I think Denny would is like the perfect Thunder player. But there's also an option that Usman Jang, if he takes that leap, I think he's that guy. I think Us is the guy.
he could be. I like the way that he started getting a lot more confident. That was my problem with Poku. I hated his confidence. Like how you said Chet pump fakes, but it's like Chet would pump fake and try to make a play. He's just not there yet in his development. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Poku, I would literally see him just like it was like a deer in headlights. And I personally never was on the Poku train, but
That's fair. Yeah. But like when it comes to this draft, we have the number 12 pick. I think the Thunder are going to keep it, and whoever they draft is going to get minutes this year, but not be a focal point. And I really hope they take Deron Holmes. I think he is a Thunder player.
you know, I'm right there with you. At first, when I was doing all the looking through and looking at all the film, obviously I had Kyle Filipowski on that list too. Um, and then obviously Khalil Ware, he started making his way onto a player that I would be cool with drafting as well. And then obviously, if we're going forward as far as like drafting one, you already know the guy that I want is Tristan DeSilva.
Oh
I
yeah.
think fits perfectly. Fits perfectly. I think he could have kind of like a Jaime Jaquez type of feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah,
Well-rounded player, can do a lot of things. Very high IQ, in my opinion. So,
yeah. The thing is, Khalil Ware is like a top 5 talent, if not top 3. But that motor is horrifying. That is so scary to me.
are you talking about because of what the coach said a while ago,
No,
or
because that's been a thing that I've seen through for a long time now.
when you say motor, what are you saying like he quits on plays?
Yeah,
He
he'll give up on plays. He'll just kind of lose his attention. Like he just kind of stops.
okay, okay.
Yeah. It's a scary thing, but unfortunately, we are kind of out of time now. So, Dayshon, bro, I want to thank you for coming on, and we'll definitely have more talks as the off season goes. Like, thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Hey, man, I'll see you. I'll see you on here soon.
Yo, good talks.